How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's UncleSamsDevil here, and today, let's talk about Dead Matter. This video is not part of some personal vendetta against the devs or mods in Dead Matter. I also want to say that I am not here to claim that Dead Matter is a scam, nor am I here to personally attack anybody. I have been having people asking me to make this video, and I just wanted to wait to see what would happen, and I feel like there is finally enough information to do so. So this is an update on what's currently going on with QI Software and the community. A lot has gone down, and I think that it's time to say something. So let's begin with what's going on right now. We don't have our keys. After hearing the excuse that QI Software's site was DDoSed for 2 days, and then them claiming that they were ready for 30,000 people but were hit by a massive DDoS attack bringing the site down, we learn today that they were never ready to launch in the first place. From what Dogtooth said in an interview, we were never going to receive keys because they waited until the last minute to order the keys, and according to him, that order was not fulfilled by Steam. So in this instance, they blame Steam for not fulfilling the order. On top of this, it was confirmed that they did hand out override keys to backers, which is definitely not something that should have happened. Something else is going on here for sure. Here is how Steam defines override keys, by the way. Release override. These keys are used to grant access to a product prior to its release on Steam. Release override keys are intended for small beta tests and press/influencer access. We will look at each request on a case-by-case basis, and in general, less than 1,000 keys work well for this purpose. It is never okay to sell release override beta keys. So these are not keys which should have been distributed to the community in the first place, yet for some reason this is an issue. Not to mention, again, they claimed that they were ready to launch, but then did not have enough keys to give out. We learned that 2 days after a supposed DDoS attack. I'm frankly just utterly confused with that one. It tells me that there is more going on here, that they were unprepared, and that the whole DDoS thing might as well have been a delay tactic. We don't have proof either way, but they have excuse after excuse after excuse, and so much of what is going on is too coincidental. Now, after the site finally comes back up and upon redeeming keys, everyone either gets a message that their key is a duplicate product, meaning that it had already been used, or they get a message from Steam that revokes their ownership of the game after starting a download. The developer response? They claim that Cloudflare is to blame. Cloudflare Incorporated is an American web infrastructure and website security company providing content delivery network services, DDoS mitigation, internet security, and distributed domain name server services. Cloudflare services sit between a website's visitor and the Cloudflare user's hosting provider, acting as a reverse proxy for the website. I have created websites before. Cloudflare has zero to do with the content that's actually on the site. Yet according to the dev team, Cloudflare is to blame for the duplicate keys and the fact that those whose keys worked had their ownership revoked. It simply isn't the truth. When you put all of this information together, it simply just does not paint a very pretty picture, and it certainly determines that we can't take what the dev team says at face value. So these are just the facts of the situation, and acknowledging them does not mean that I want to see Dead Matter fail. I don't. I want to see it succeed, not for me, but for all of the other people so heavily invested in it. Watching communities burn is not enjoyable to me, but this 100% could have been prevented, or at least better controlled. However, damage control is a little hard when you spend your time referring to your community as babies. When you ban dissenting views, when you lock down your Discord for hours upon hours at a time. And yes, I understand that it got to a point that it was so toxic that there was no other option. But the question is why? Again, the blame lies on the devs for being toxic themselves. But they'd rather blame the community. They'd rather let an immature 20-year-old with a superiority complex talk down to the community on behalf of the entire team. It's a recipe for disaster to be messing up so much and to then sneer arrogantly at the people buying your product. Let's talk more about their means of damage control. If you really want to appease the community, including the part that's angry with you, why would you do softball interviews where the interviewer answers his own questions for you? For example, so the keys aren't override keys, right? They're real, normal keys. By the way, the dev answer was no, that they weren't override keys, that they were normal keys. 15 minutes later, we found out that that wasn't true either, and that they were in fact giving out override keys. No explanation though. So why do interviews like that? What is the point? To boost the people you'd like to interview you as yes man in the future? I don't get it. If you want to satisfy people, talk to someone with a history of criticizing and praising you. Come talk to me. It'll be a 100% professional and friendly interview. No attacks, no talking about what's happened between us in the past. Just about what's going on now and how you guys plan to solve it. It's an open invitation, and I extend it to any of you. In the end, the lack of competency when it comes to public relations and meeting deadlines is mind-blowing to me. And then you mix that with the fact that we finally get to the release date and the situation is shadier than with some games that in the past turned out to actually be scams. We were told this latest problem would be solved in a few hours. Let's hope it's a deadline that they can meet. I've got to say, if you're considering buying this game now, don't. Wait and see what happens on the other side of this terrible situation. So, Metamoth literally just released a huge announcement while I'm finishing up this video, and I gotta give it to him. It was good, and it's worth talking about here. To start off, he says that they made mistakes with Cloudflare and their site, resulting in bad keys being sent out, and basically that they are working with Valve on getting new keys. He talks about the DDoS attack and how they did not expect to get the 22.6 million requests that they claim they did, saying the DDoS caused the site to go down, and then after setting up the DDoS protection, that they are still having a heavy load from attackers as well as legitimate users. Then he talks about scammers, people using fake accounts, downloads, and fake QI sites and keys to scam people and give them malware. Then comes the part I really wanted everybody to see, as to give an example of the way they should have interacted with the community this whole time. He says, keeping all of this in mind, this statement is not meant to deflect blame from ourselves. We've failed our community in numerous ways over the last few days, and nothing we can say here can make up for that. For that, we're deeply sorry, even if we recognize those words mean little at this point. We should have been a lot more clear from the get-go about the situation and ended up severely mishandling the whole affair. We can't fix what's done, but we sure as hell plan to make things right for everybody. That's all we have for you, unfortunately. We know we've made a lot of mistakes over the last few days, and there's no taking that back, but rest assured that we will be getting everybody their keys, even if this launch isn't what we hoped. I know we can make the most of it. Thank you. So this was a good move from them, like, holy shit, finally. I don't know if I believe the explanation, but that doesn't matter. They're taking steps to salvage the mess that they've made, and I respect it. This absolutely took responsibility, and no one can argue otherwise. I hope that's what's said here is something that they can live up to, and I'm going to stay neutral on it. My goal is never to trash devs. I will be fair and give credit where it's due, and it's due here. Now, they just need to follow through. I hope they get things turned around. I really do. I invested in this game as well, but sometimes accountability is important, and that is my goal here. Let's hold out hope that Quantum Integrity pulls a complete 180 and delivers something awesome. And shout out to Metamoth for being professional and at least convincing me that he wants to solve this issue. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all for me for this one. If you liked this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to stay updated on my future content. It helps me out and I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.